Hi Connect Group leaders, and welcome to this month's Group Equip, where we just take under 10 minutes but some equipping for you in your groups as a leader. I want to start by saying hope you've been having a great time in your groups as you've been building Christ-centered community, and I want to thank you so much for all that you do. What you do is often behind the scenes when it comes to sort of like public church and on a Sunday and that sort of stuff, but it could not be more vital. So thank you for all you do, and I encourage you to keep pressing on with it. Today in our Group Equip, we want to talk about insiders and outsiders. Insiders and outsiders. I wonder if you've ever been somewhere where you felt like an outsider. Maybe it was a party that you went along to, and maybe a work do or something where you went along with your partner, or you went and you didn't know the people there, or another occasion where you went there and all of a sudden you realised you felt like a little bit of an outsider. Whether it's you didn't know the people socially, or people were at a slightly different maybe status or background to you, or they had their own kind of interests and you felt a little bit separate. And just imagine what that's like, stepping into a group where they're kind of in the know and you feel an outsider. And that's really what I want us to think about this month. What does it mean when people come along to your group, and what do they experience? Now, as group leaders, part of our job is to develop deep, caring communities where people are friends, where they know one another, where we go deep and have some life-changing moments. But the challenge that sometimes happens is as we build that community, it can become insider focused, and without even realizing it, we can build a culture where we develop our own language, where we develop our own habits, where because we're very tight, and that's a great thing, but sometimes people stepping into our groups can feel on the outside of that. And part of our job as group leaders is to build really strong community, but also to help people connect into that community. We talk about connecting in, and that is not just our group, but others who come along. So think about what happens when people come along to our group. And remember, we may be very comfortable with our group, and we may have developed some great friendships, and we're very relaxed in it. But for somebody visiting a group meeting for the first time, it can be quite intimidating. And one of the things we want to do as a group and as group leaders is try and make them comfortable as possible, try and help them connect as quickly as possible, try and help them move from being outsiders, which they are when they come in, but how do they feel insiders very quickly. Now, I'm just thinking about visitors coming to your group. The bottom line is, if you've never had a visitor in your group, or you've had some visitors who've come along to a group but haven't come back, then the chances are you might need to change something about what's happening in your group, about the culture, about your expectations of the group, about what you're leading towards, so that you can help people connect in. So practically, how can you help people from the outside move to the inside? Well, firstly, even before people arrive, you want to create an outsider focus. Before a new person arrives at a meeting, you want to build a culture where you are creating as a group an expectation for growth, an expectation for change, for new people being added. We're going to pray for people constantly who are outside of the group. So we're already thinking about outsiders. We're already praying for them. We're already thinking about what does it take for these outsiders to come into our group and become insiders. Don't let it be a shock for the people in your group when new people turn up. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable because we've developed this safe environment where everybody knows each other and everybody's very comfortable. But then all of a sudden a new person comes into that, and it can be a shock for the people on the inside as well as on the outside. So build that culture of expectation. When somebody does turn up for the first time, now if you've invited them, it takes a matter of minutes, not even that, to text out your group and say, hey, so-and-so's coming tonight, please make them feel welcome. Create that expectation. If somebody in your group is going to invite a friend, encourage them to let you know that they're going to be inviting a friend that night, so you can prepare for it, so you can be ready, so you can think about what you're going to be talking about and be deliberate with opening that up. And on the night, when a new person arrives, be deliberate with helping them build connections. Now, if I've invited somebody, I'm going to obviously have an eye out for them and make sure that they feel welcome, make sure that they feel at home and comfortable. But I also want them to deliberately connect with other people. So be deliberate with making introductions. Be deliberate with keeping an eye on how well they're connecting as you might be having conversations with other people. Help them build those connections. Don't assume everybody knows everybody. Sometimes we can have this assumption we're all from the same church anyway, and they must have met on a Sunday, and now they're in a group and they must just know each other. But the truth is people don't know each other. So make introductions. When other members come in, introduce them by name and make that connection one at a time. Be deliberate with your warm-up and your icebreaker and your welcome time. Now, sometimes as a group develops, that can become a little bit more flexible, a little bit more laid back. But that part is so vital for building those connections. So if you've got new people coming along, be deliberate with sharing stories and sharing experiences that create those connections. Be deliberate to update contact details and share them around. Now, I know that I've been guilty of sometimes forming a group, and when it started, we gathered people's contact details and we shared them around. But when it came to the running of the group, we didn't do that so well. So again, that connection became all about me and whether I could maintain it. But what we want to do is help people come into the community that we're building. As you're having your group time, be alert to insider habits. What do I mean by insider habits? Well, the things that make us community can also separate people from that as well. We can develop our own language, our own phrases, which without even realizing it can speak to insiders but isn't accessible to outsiders. So take time to explain things. Take time, if you're doing a series or somebody has a comment of something that you shared a few weeks ago, take time to connect people into that and help them to understand background that some in your group might have but a new person won't have. Don't make assumptions. I know I've been guilty of assuming where people are spiritually, but really I've had no basis for that. And so we could have had some new person along and we ask a certain question, but actually I discover that person isn't really a Christian, isn't sure of their faith, and had not only never read the Bible, but doesn't own one as well. And that's maybe an extreme example for most of our groups. But don't make assumptions about where people are. Take time to find out. Put yourself in their shoes. What would it be like if you were coming in? What would you not know that you'd need to know, that you'd need to come up to speed with as well? Find ways of deliberately building community. So be alert to those insider habits, but be deliberate to draw them into the inside as well. If you've got some new people who've come along or a new person, have a social night planned. Have a dinner party and invite just some of the group members maybe around. It doesn't have to be all of them, and maybe that doesn't work for you and schedules, but be deliberate to help them to connect with other people and become part of that community. After they come along to your group as well, do some follow-up. Give them a quick phone call and find out how it went for them. Or if it was a member who brought them along, then ask them to do that and follow up with that member and say, how did they get on? What did they experience? Would they be interested in coming back? And on the community side, finally, I would say don't hold back. Don't hold back. Let people experience the life of your group. It could be the worst thing for us to be so nervous that they never really experience our group because we're just on the edge of our seats and best foot forward and all that sort of stuff. Let them experience the life of group. Be open and be real and be deep with your sharing as possible and do all the things that a group would normally do. And let them experience that, but just help them come in from the outside to the inside. So after all, it is really the life of your group that they're really looking for, and that's what's going to keep them. So, help them build connections, be alert to insider habits, build community, and help people take a journey from being on the outside to very quickly being on the inside. So, a few questions just to finish. What are some of the other things that can create obstacles to outsiders that you need to be aware of as a group leader? What visitors have you had recently? And what are some of the things that you could have done better? And then just thinking about your group. What is one or two things that you can put into practice based on what we've been talking about this evening to develop an outsider-aware culture in your group so that you're ready to draw people in? That's it for this month. I hope you've had a great time. Hope this helps you. And as always, if you've got any questions or any problems or challenges, give me a shout and we'll see what we can do to help. All right, all the best. See you soon.